I hope you're watching me because I've got a YouTube video on my television screen right behind me, and I didn't know what I was getting when I turned this on, except to say that it was a video of the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. Now, I have done videos before telling about this fair because my great-grandmother, her name was Sarah, or they called her Sally, Grandma Brooks, went to the World's Fair, and I thought, I ought to be watching this video. It looked pretty interesting, and so I've been sitting here for about 30 minutes into it, and when I realized how much they were showing of the actual World's Fair, I decided my viewers need to see this. They need to see the place that my grandmother went to and got to explore and came back home and told my mother and her sisters. They would sit on the breezeway, what you called a dog trot back in those days, in 1900, 1904, get my numbers confused. In 1904, she was 63 years old, the grandmother. 63 in those days, you probably would have considered it old age. I don't look at it that way today. I think it's a perfect age to be, but 63 then, she was an old lady. Partly because their lifestyle and working on big farms, it aged the people very much. You can imagine how hard the work was when living on a big farm. So I want to get back to the World's Fair. What you're seeing is the people at the fair. I wish I could just turn the sound on, let you watch it. But what I'm saying is you can go on YouTube and find this same video, and I really think you should watch it because it just fascinates me what they started out with. They started out with 600 acres of land. Now that to me is a lot of land. You ought to be able to put a lot of things on it. But they ended up doubling the amount of property they needed for this World's Fair. Oh, I don't know how many years ago it was. I was in an antique shop and I was just drifting around from table to table, and I ran across a brochure, the original brochure for the St. Louis World's Fair. I paid $10 for that little piece of paper, but you wouldn't believe the information that was on that sheet of paper, and they showed pictures of the Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel, I forget how many cars it had, but they said each car would hold 60 people, and it took about 20 minutes for rotation. Now I know you've been to carnivals just like I have, and one of the main things you had to ride was the Ferris wheel. Just imagine a Ferris wheel. I can't remember, it was over 200 feet high. They could see as far away as 50 miles when they were at the top of the Ferris wheel. That's what I read in my brochure. That's what I'm remembering right now. So I wanted to show this to you so you could see the background, what I'm looking at. These are the people who are presenting the video and describing everything. But I had no idea how big a project this was until I started watching this. They had trains going in and out of St. Louis all day long. People were boarding the trains that didn't even have enough room for them to sit. Families could not stay together on the train. They were separated, but just before I started to put this on my channel, they said something about how many trains went in and out of St. Louis each day. Now you're watching the people, and what I wanted you to see mostly was the way the people dressed. This is a canal, I think, that runs through St. Louis, and the buildings, everything, it's beyond what I can imagine taking place for any World Fair, even today. But the groups of people walking around, I wanted to see the clothes they wore, how well they were dressed. The women all had on clothing, the skirts went to the ankle, and the majority of them had on it. Of course, this was in black and white video, but they had the long, dark skirts and the what was the puffy white sleeve blouses that the ladies wore in those days, and they all had the washerwoman hairdo. You know how the washerwoman hairdo looked up. Well, I don't have to describe it to you if you know what it is already, and if you don't, you can go on YouTube and watch this video. Now, I could just sit right here and watch it with you, but it doesn't show up quite as well. Now, look at the clothing that some of the women are wearing, and you can see their hairstyles. I wish I had it on a section right now, but I don't know what's coming next from one clip to another. But the main thing I wanted to emphasize was the fact that I can sit here and watch all of this, seeing it live but on film, of something that my great-grandmother got to do. Now these are probably the people. Look at the people, how they're dressed. The ladies all wore hats, all of them. I didn't see very many that didn't have on a hat. And I'm just going to watch it with you and see if we can figure out what these things are that we're looking at. But I'm not sure. A lot of beautiful big buildings that were built during that period. I'd rather be watching the scenes from the fair than listening to the people that we're having to look at. And right now it seems like we're getting them more than we're getting the fair. So this is one that comes straight directly from the World's Fair that we're looking at now. I have no idea what they're talking about, but we can see some of the buildings. It's just amazing. I know they advertised the Chicago World's Fair before that so much, but this one, look at the buildings they built. There, take a look at this. I want you to get a look at this. Follow it with me. I don't know how long it took them to build all of that, but it's absolutely fascinating. I'd like to see more of the people and the way they dressed, the crowds of people, the children. Look at this. Oh, and by the way, John Philip Sousa was at that fair. You know who John Philip Sousa is. And See the ladies, how they're dressed, the wagons, their buggies. These are families that have come to attend the fair. They were coming by train, and they did not get to sit together. They were scattered out throughout the trains. I saw that before I turned this on. Now, I wish we could see this. Look, that's $5.85. That was to take the train, I don't know from where, to St. Louis, but $5.85. That doesn't seem like very much money, but you think about it, in over 100 years ago, $5.85 was quite a bit of money, and look at all of the people that were standing there. Now, it's showing all of these towns on this map right here. These are the towns that the trains are coming from into St. Louis. There's a train coming along there. I'd never even ridden a train till I was married. First time I ever rode train. I was about 35 years old. But there's one of the tracks, and they're showing you the different trains. And on this segment of the video, I think we will see, there's a train station, we will see where the train could not make contact, and I don't know what happened, but the man says they are going to have a wreck. There was no way they could get information back and forth to stop the trains. They were going opposite directions, and I believe this is one, in just a minute or so, you will see the train wreck. You like trains? This is what they look like. He doesn't look too busy. I wish I could actually have seen something like this. And I also wish my great-grandmother had been able to give more information, but she was talking to my mother and her sisters. Look at all those places the train stopped to pick up people to take them to the World's Fair. Here we go, the railroad tracks. You people that are electric train buffs might enjoy this a little bit. Look at this. This is the train wreck right there. And I didn't know there was a train wreck during that fair, but this was it. It's hard to believe. Now, when I stopped the video, it was right about here, because I wanted you to be able to see some of the World's Fair. I should have started it from the very beginning, when they were showing so many people, and you could get an idea of what the showmen looked like in their outfits. And Grandma would tell the children all of these people spoke languages, and she couldn't understand what any of them said, but to think of the costumes they wore and the acts that they had. I'm going to sit down later and I'm going to start this video from the beginning, because I want to hear everything they say about this fair. Because think about it, 120 years ago, this is when all of this was taking place. And to see what my grandmother experienced that we could never experience today, it's amazing. And I'm glad I've got this video. I also had the brochure. I was tickled pink when I picked that brochure up off the table and said, "Oh my goodness, this is tells you everything about the St. Louis World's Fair." Have no idea who this man is, but if we had the sound on, we could find out. I just wanted to come on and tell you, go to YouTube, find the video about the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. Look at the buildings back then. There we go with all of the horses. Wouldn't you love to be able to just kind of go back in time a little bit and just be there and get to see something like that? I'll give the cameraman credit for getting all of these films, and the good film. Look at the people. See their clothing, all the children. Oh my gosh, that's how they dressed. Oh, I don't know what they were doing. Golly Moses. If you can read backwards, that's probably one family. Oh, here's the Ferris wheel. I'm sure my grandmother didn't ride that Ferris wheel because it was really, really big. Everybody that was there was dressed to the nines. See the men in their hats. Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer because I know that you're going to follow my lead and you're going to go on YouTube and find this video and watch it. And you can say, you know somebody whose grandmother was there. She may have ridden in one of those buggies. But she was fortunate that her oldest son was an employee of the railroad company, and she was able to take the train anytime she wanted to go from Kentucky to St. Louis, Missouri to visit her son and his family. I don't know exactly what this is describing because I didn't get this far into the video when I was watching it. I got a little bit excited and said, I've got to show this video to my viewers. I want them to know. May not have any famous people in my family, but I have one that got to do something none of us ever got to do. And they can tell stories about their grandmother. Of course, this was my great-grandmother, not just my grandmother. And you think at the age of 63, the way I look at it today, that's young. But in those days, she was an old lady. But I think she was a vibrant old lady. She owned property, and there were many things that she was able to do. And she loved her grandchildren, and they loved her, and my mother loved talking about the things that her grandmother did. Look at the cattle. I don't know what that was for, but I don't think that's a part of the fair I would have been in. So I'm going to let you go, and you promise me that you will play this video and tell me what you think about it. And wouldn't it have been nice to have been there and watch John Philip Sousa with his band marching through the fair? We all know who John Philip Sousa was. How do you like the way they dressed? The buggies. Well, this is one video I can keep, and it'll be what I could say a little bit of my family history when I look at this video and say, yes, someone in my family was there. So that's going to do it for today. Actually, it's my bedtime. And I had on the green shirt that I was wearing in the kitchen. I'm getting quite a few comments about my hush puppies. And folks, they really are good hush puppies. They're so light and crisp. And the thing about it is, you can fix them all at once, refrigerate them, and then you can put them in the oven. Don't put them in the microwave. Put them in the oven and just let them get good and hot. And I ate some for supper tonight. I had a salad, some General Tso? TSO, how do you pronounce that? That's who it is. You know who that is. It was his chicken and sauce, and I had never bought that before. So I thought, well, I like bourbon chicken. Maybe this will be as good. And so I heated that up. So I had my salad, my General Tso's chicken, and what else did I have? Oh, I guess that was, and my hush puppies. Good combination, really. So I'm going to leave you here. I have to get up out of my chair first. See my little library over here. Those are the books that a few of those books have signatures in them that I knew the people who wrote them. Mine's in there too. By the way, if you're interested in my books, you can get them on Amazon. And you can let me know if you like my books. You can also go on Etsy, buy my apron, the tote bags, the mugs. Oh gosh, I can't remember what other thing Etsy has, but just go on Etsy and put in Chit Chat with Granny Pat, and it'll bring up all of the items that are for sale with cat eye glasses in pink and pretty little face on the front of each thing. I think you would like the items that are for sale, but that's up to you if you think I've got the apron. I had several of the other things, but I gave them to other people, but I kept my apron. And one of these days I'll wear it when I'm in the kitchen. So I hope you enjoyed this little segment. It was just a spur of the moment thing, and I said do it now. If you don't, you won't remember to do it later. So I'm going to get off, and it's time for me to get ready for bed, even though I've already had a good nap. So tomorrow is Saturday. This is Memorial Weekend. I talked to my sister. She'd already bought all the flowers for the graves for my parents and my brother and all the little brothers and sisters and what have you that have passed on, all in one cemetery. So she's taking care of the flowers. She does that every year. And they went down and mowed around the graves and trying to make things look prettier. But I won't be going to the cemetery this year because I won't drive on the interstate. They don't have to warn me and tell me you can't drive on the interstate. I've already decided that for myself because it has gotten pretty dangerous, and so I just drive locally, and I depend on my sister to take care of the graves, and there'll probably be a lot of people there. So you do what you have to do for the weekend. I know a lot of you travel back home just for Decoration Day, and drive carefully. It's been so dangerous lately, and especially since we've got these tornadoes that we've had to deal with. It's so heartbreaking, the things we hear and have seen that have taken place with these latest tornadoes. Life is so different now. It's just hard for me to accept the things that I've heard that have taken place and the deaths that have taken place. So you have to pray for the families. Do whatever you can in donating to help them bring their lives back to normal. So you have a good day tomorrow, a good weekend, and wherever you are, drive safely.